Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Motion to approve the July 7th, 2026 meeting minutes.
Seconded by Rich. All in agreement, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Communications.
No, Dave said he talked to you about, Kevin Brown, Keith Brown, from Foster School.
He did, so it'd be easier if I just read this memo or email. So it's to the Michigan Office of Administration Rules and Hearings, Interoffice Communication, to the Michigan Public Service Commission. Subject is scheduled suspension, Ridge Road solar sighting. Suspend all dates. Discovery is suspended in full. The applicant requested suspension of all dates and agreed to waive the 12-month commission decision deadline while it evaluates measures to address the impacts of the May 7th, 2026 Court Appeals decision in RE implementing provisions of Public Act 233 of 2023. Applicant will make a filing once that determination has been made. So, what that means, at least my interpretation, is for it to be suspended all motions. The appeals process is going on. Apparently, they're trying to discern what
Or it has to be
So there was
decision
two-
of the appeal.
there was two, most of what I read went in favor of the commission. There were two areas, one on, it sounded like before it was understood that it was just the township that was involved in the intermediate process, and now it could be the township, the county, in the appropriate local surrounding body, government body, if you will, and something about timing. You know, there's a lot of legal dirt in there, and understandable. To me, that was the nuts and bolts of it. Now, whether that's truly the situation, or saying the reason for suspending all motions. But for now, it looks as though it's stopped.
Yeah, the county is getting involved.
That was my understanding, is they might reapply through the county or something along those
Well,
lines.
no, so the county is going to, become an interviewer as well.
Does that come from the county?
The county with what?
Applying to the county for the project or no?
I think the whole thing is when, the Court of Appeals had, reviewed the findings and reviewed the, MPSC, PA 233, what they passed. It was defining it, AO effective, local. So, and which there was nothing in the original writings from the legislature. So, and
solar sighting.
I heard a little bit about it.
That's what we're talking about. So it was in the appeals process, and Foster's working was kind of the township's being out of course. The appeals court ruled on that, changed a couple things. Apparently, RWB is now withdrawn all their motions and they're reassessing their position. I think that's all. So for now, it's just stalled, on hold. However you want to phrase it. Any written comments? I don't have any. All right, public comments.
Regarding solar or the unfinished business?
Any?
Oh, okay. I just have one comment, one question actually from the meeting on Tuesday, last Tuesday. Before we left, the gentleman from the range was sitting in the back, and he said that they would not assume liability, that all liability would be passed to the participants when they signed a waiver. And so I was a little confused about that, and I don't know if you found anything else from them or what's been found out from your questions to legal counsel or the insurance company. So he seemed to imply that they were not going to take responsibility for liability and it was all going to be passed to the participants. But I'm sure that wasn't in the meeting, in the minutes, because everyone was talking at the same time. So I guess I'd like a little explanation. If you know, if you don't know, how can we find out?
We're just discussing that.
Is that,
That's all. That's my
Sorry.
only question from last week.
thank you. That concludes public comments. Then, I presume we will untable the discussion and deliberation of the special use application. Steve Cinco, PAO 106-255-2555-00. So, when we left, when we were discussing amongst ourselves, there was a definite question of, does the township assume any liability? If so, what is that? What's it look like? So Chris and I kind of collaborated on that investigation. Chris talked to the township's insurance agent, and I talked to Mr. Lacoste. Chris, if you wouldn't mind sharing.
My conversation with Marty.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I called Denver Agency, which is insured for our township, and I asked them concerning the liability of the township for damages or anything and injury due to the gun range training facility that's being proposed to the township. So what they told me is that we are not liable for that. However, that doesn't mean that a lawsuit won't come our way. We are covered under that, but under the law, we're not liable. So, but it doesn't mean someone could come and sue. And she said, we're covered for all of that. So, but, it costs money when you have to go defend, pay a lawyer to defend
talked to Dave Goss same day, actually, Chris called me to communicate her findings from the insurance company, and it worked out. I was able to include her in the call. I was on the phone with David Goss at the time, so she could field any questions she had, as well as hear Dave's advice, if you will. So Dave said that as a governmental body, in dealing with special use permits, issuing them, granting approval, it's a government function, so we're protected in that sense. His recommendation was as a reasonable condition that the gun range would hold a minimum of 1 million liability per incident and 2 million aggregate, and that Palmyra Township would be listed as an insured on the policy, and that would be the condition. That way, if something were to happen, they would be tasked with at least in the front end, fielding that defense and the liability.
What was 2 million for again?
So it was 1 million
Per incident?
per incident and 2 million aggregate.
Okay.
And the township would be listed as an insured on that policy, and I asked about, should we require a yearly statement, and he said that as a listed insured on that policy, we would get the same information that they receive. We would get, the statement of the policy going into force, if there was any non-payment, cancellation, we
So
Dave will call us. So, to my knowledge, I guess, from my point of view, I think that covers the question that the group was looking to answer. Kept us from moving forward that do we have any questions?
As long as we make sure the township is on the policy.
Well, I asked Dave about that, if we should ask for, copy, and he said that as a condition of the special use, that we would receive the policy, all of the, when it would go into force, it would be just like if we purchased the policy. Where the township is named as an insured on that policy, so we will receive any paperwork that they receive.
Okay, so we verbally tell them the condition of the policy, the condition of the wage is that they have us on the policy. And then we have to be.
I will write, so Dave's supposed to write, give the cost, that's supposed to write, it's supposed to be ready.
Yeah, I asked Dave if he would have time to write it, and it hasn't came through yet, maybe he got locked out. But it was on his radar, and he did commit to taking care of that language to facilitate that condition.
And then it will go along with the state special use bills.
Does anyone else have any questions, concerns,
Question before. Who makes up the form?
more questions? Anybody? Do we have a motion to recommend approval with the conditions that it's? Okay, second,
Second.
I didn't hear who made the motion.
Rich,
Quiet.
Very quiet to it.
Dean seconded it. All right, so we'll take a roll call vote. Vivian,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
John, yes. Rich,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
I will email Dave tonight. Ask him to let him know where we're at. Just tell him we're just kind of waiting on that legal verbiage.
Okay, so, Rich, motion made by Rich, supported by Dean, to recommend approval of special use, for, property, it's 18, or something like that, Academy Road, PAO.
15.
What is it?
15.
1581,
PAO 106.
yeah, I got that.
Okay.
So PAO 1062555, for, use of property for a, firearms training facility. And, with the condition that, they name Palmyra Township as insurance. $1 million per incident and $2 million aggregate. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
And Dave did say, I know John, I remember John saying, or at least, I got the impression that he was saying that the liability coverage